For TraderInsight.com, I'm Adrian Manns. It is October the 8th, 2018, Columbus Day. That meant slow day in the market since the financials are mostly closed. But let's take a look at what we did in the first hour trading pit. And I understand that some of you feel like you need a little bit of coaching again on where to set stops and such. So let's just dig into this stuff and get a feel for what's going on. So first on the list was CGNX. This was a fastball XRV setup. You can see here I had a stop initially up around $51.22. When the market opened and we had this gap to the downside, and CGNX wound up opening at $50.21 and then quickly traveled down to 50% of the distance to the profit target before traveling higher again and getting into our trigger zone. That gave us the opportunity for a second entry. Now, when we take that second entry after we've already been downranged like that, really good habit to get into is to reevaluate where that stop is. So if we were originally looking at a 51.22 stop, and then we see this move that gets us back up to the criterion for an entry, and it never gets up above that Friday close, then as far as I was concerned, a good stop on this one was just up into this range, $50.77. This one took a while to play out, but it did make it to a $1 profit objective. That was great for a Monday morning. Cognex Corporation, CGNX, $1 per share traded. Next on the list for today, we had Dish Network Corporation, ticker symbol DISH. You can see that we had a 34.24 go line on this one, and it came up, got up above there, got us in first thing in the morning, 50% of the distance down to the profit target. But even before we had that 50% move to the target, I had gone ahead, and I talked about this in the room, and I moved the stop loss down just above the Friday closing price, so $34.31. The reason for that is if you look at what happened after the opening bell, look at these highs in the first 15 minutes of trading and see how there was no violation. That tells us that this range right here is really going to be our drop dead price. There's no sense in having the stop up at $34.80 once all of this happened. So $34.31 was the stop. That kept us in until just a few minutes ago when this finally came up and moved through $34.31, minus 7 cents per share traded on DISH. The next XRV that triggered, U.S. Concrete Incorporated, ticker symbol USCR. $40.93 got us in right around the opening bell. Initially, you can see I had my stop up at $41.96. And when this one got down through the entry price and started to move down into the travel range, I mentioned in the room that I was going to pull my stop down just above the high of the opening bar. That got me above this high and up into these lows, opens, closes, all this stuff right here. So I felt like if I could pull it down to $41.56, what that did for me was essentially said if I violated this high and kept going, then I was up into this range and probably it was going to wind up taking off up into $41.96. So that didn't happen. That's nice, right? It came down and put in this little reversal range. When it did that, I ratcheted down again because right after that, we made it 50% of the distance to the target. So I pulled down to about 41.07. And of course, if you were there this morning, you know the rest. We got down to the $39.92 target. As a matter of fact, it went down and nailed that pivot at $39.62, broke down below there. I didn't participate in any of that. I took the trade off with an automated exit. So I was done when we hit the profit objective. But $1 per share traded on USCR. Fastball XRVs, $1.93 per share today. We also had an interesting gap trade this morning, and you know that this was handled differently by Rick and me, and that's okay. I do have this gap course coming out this week, so that ought to clear things up for those of you who are still struggling with these Baltimore Chop setups. As you know, Baltimore Chop has a lot more discretion than just about anything else that we trade. Got to pick them, got to find them from that Trader Insight scanner first thing in the morning. But this particular setup, this would be an advanced entry, and Rick and I were talking about this in the room. So when we say advanced entry, that just means this is going to be a trade in the direction that we anticipate it moving. So this is a 2 standard deviation gap. We're looking for a reversion back towards the mean. Now, a 1564 entry was a reversal of that first bar close. You knew that was a viable trade because it came up, couldn't make it any higher, came back down, opened in line, then started tracking lower. Rick chose to handle this a little differently than I did. He loaded up a lot of shares and was just looking for this move down into the tail, just about a 20-cent scalp on that position. And what I was looking for was this extension. And the way that you anticipate whether or not you're going to get the extension is by this activity that's happening back in these bars and the test of a test of a test of a test, right? So keeps trying to break down through here. You know, if you were listening to me, I set my stop at break even once we were down here. I didn't figure that the 20 cents was as important to me as the opportunity to make 40 or 50 cents. And when Rick took it off, hooray, he got his he got his scalp in. He planned his trade. He traded his plan. Nothing wrong with that. And I was looking for this bigger move to the downside. Little tough to figure this out, this extension, with a fib expansion because the bars are so narrow to begin with. But if you took the first bar high to the second bar low, which is what you're going to see me talking about quite a bit in that Baltimore chop course, 1569 down to 1533 gave us a target down at $15.15. So a 64 entry, a 15 exit, 49 cents per share traded on PBR. Not bad for a $15 stock that didn't look like it was going to move much at all. So there you have it. That was the first hour trading pit for this fine Columbus day. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, adrian@traderinsight.com. Hope you had a great trading day today and an even better one on deck for tomorrow. It's the best trader education anywhere, only from traderinsight.com.